I belong to a very small town, Jamnagar. So when I started my BCom, I had an opportunity to go to National Cadet Corps. Nationwide, there was a competition of bayonet fighting. I was the best bayonet fighter of the country at that time. When my third year BCom result came, I did not perform well there.
Was it a little sad for you कि आपका सपना था आर्मी में जाने का, but to fulfill your mother's wishes, you took up CA? Tell me about that journey.
Finding articleship was a big concern at that particular time.
Was English such an important thing even 40 years back?
Work profile that I was doing. The books of accounts were in Gujarati. I used to translate the annual accounts, the balance sheet, etc. in English. Nobody else knew that. So that became
In this episode of Beyond the Degree, we have with us someone who is currently serving as a bench member of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. ITAT is how we fondly call it. Starting his journey in a small town of Jamnagar, doing his primary education in Hindi, he had aspirations to be in the army. But life took him to a field of commerce and he qualified as a chartered accountant in 1987. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Prashant Maharshi. This episode of Beyond the Degree is powered by JK Shah Classes. So, welcome to Beyond the Degree. It's a pleasure to host you and learn from you on your journey so far.
good afternoon, Hardik. It's my pleasure to be with you today, and I am very happy that you are putting me back almost 40 years in my life. I am almost 60 now, and going back 40 years, I am really delighted because those were the days when I was a student. And as a judge, I speak very less outside, and you have given me an opportunity to speak on this podcast. Thank you very much. And
Thank you, sir. So, sir, शुरुआत करते हैं the fact that आपको पहले आर्मी में जाना था and then you came to commerce. I mean, that's a very big transition in terms of where it is. So, tell me about that journey कि वहाँ कैसे ये हो गया?
sir, I am belong to a very small town, Jamnagar. We are a joint family. So two of my uncles, they were the officers in Air Force. One reached to the height of Air Vice Marshal. The another one reached to the height of Air Commodore. So I used to look at them, their turnout, their life, their way of moving around, and the grace they carry in the dress. So when I started my BCom, I had an opportunity to go to National Cadet Corps. So I was so fascinated to be a cadet of NCC that nationwide there was a competition of bayonet fighting. You know what is bayonet? Bayonet is आगे का जो छुरा रहता है बंदूक में जो 303 का जो आता है उसमें that bayonet fighting. I was the best bayonet fighter of the country at that time.
Wow.
And my life was NCC. I used to do lot of camps, lot of army attachment camps, etc. So I wanted to go to army itself. But suddenly, when my third year BCom result came, I did not perform well there. And therefore, I was expecting that I will go to the as a commissioned officer, go to the because I passed NCC C certificates. But then my mother said that I don't want you to go to army. Then I said that what you wanted me to do. Then she said I wanted to you to become a chartered accountant because one of my uncle who pursued the CA course but could not complete it, unfortunately. So my mother wanted to do. I thought that if you are saying that I must be a chartered accountant, then by her blessings, I would definitely be a chartered accountant. I think if you look at my educational background, it was a very mediocre. If you reach that particular almost 54% or 55% on an average in BCom grade, you don't think that that kind of student will crack as a chartered accountant in the exams. But that is the grace of God and my mother's blessing. Plus, I am excited to do that.
So, all students watching this episode, listen to your mother. That's the underlying message out over here.
Yes, when your parents speak, and more precisely when your mother speaks, it is the verdict of the God.
I think the motherly instinct always is, has always been contributing to success of a lot of people today, even if you look at the Ambanis for that matter.
सर
But
मातृशक्ति का अंदाजा आप कोई भी कम न लगाए इस दुनिया में, क्योंकि माँ जो कहती है वो भगवान का संदेश है और शायद वही आपके लिए प्रेरणादायक है.
so now we get to know, कि, because your mom asked you to अपने CA करा, but you had self doubts.
Yes.
तो tell us about the first few years कि आपने चलो आर्मी मतलब was it a little sad for you कि आपका सपना था आर्मी में जाने का, but to fulfill your mother's wishes you took up CA. Were the first years of transition little difficult और कैसा रहा वो?
So basically, the chartered accountancy course, when I'm from Jamnagar, sir, it's a very, very small place, then some
It's very
friend,
famous now after the Ambani wedding.
not after the Ambadi wedding, but prior to setting up of the refineries by the
Yes,
Reliance
by
and
Reliance
SR
Group.
there, because it's the largest.
Put us in the world map.
Yes, yes. It's in oil city of the world, people say so.
Correct.
Fine, but that's an altogether different thing. But I'm talking about 1984. So in that particular period, Jamnagar was a very small town. There were hardly 3-4 chartered accountants there in that city itself. So one of my uncle's friend, when my uncle was pursuing CA, he was also pursuing CA. That friend took me to Mumbai. That said, he told my mother, "Babi ji, isko Bombay bhej dijiye." Then my mother said, "Okay." Then on the next day, I took the Saurashtra mail ticket, reached at around 8:30 in the morning at Borivali. I landed at the residence of Mr. Naveen Bhatt, who took me to this town. Thereafter, finding articleship was a big concern at that particular time. He took me to almost 10 firms on that day. He was persuading with every chartered accountant firm that you please keep this boy as an article clerk. But rarely people agreed to take me. Number one, Gujarati boy. Number two, lack of fluency in English. Number three, what is his accounting knowledge? Because he is just 55-54% of the marks carrying in his mark sheets. So these were the challenges. But I got articleship in a very good form, a small size form, mid-size form. And thereafter, in the evening, he took me to the hostel in Vadala somewhere and he put me there. And thereafter, my life started in Mumbai, sir. Initially, at the time of service of articleship, I used to stand at Churchgate station and look at the number of peoples moving around, number of vehicles moving around. And then I decided that this is not my cup of tea. I have to make my name by doing something different here. So that is what the journey started, sir.
So जामनगर से छोटे शहर से बॉम्बे was it a little overwhelming initially जब like you saying चर्ची में आप लोगों को देख रहे थे, did you find yourself somewhere uncomfortable in the city or you managed to gel in because I mean आज भी काफ़ी बच्चे they leave their small cities राजस्थान गुजरात से बॉम्बे आते, it's the financial capital also and people aspire here to make their name. I'm sure that's 40 years back must be more difficult than what it is today. So, any thoughts around if you recollect your days 40 years back?
Yes, you're absolutely right. If I go back in the memory, first there was a fear that this is such a big station. Even the local trains at that particular time, people said that local trains पे घुसोगे उससे पहले start हो जाएगी और गिर जाओगे, कहीं ये होगा, कहीं कोई पॉकेट ले लेगा, कभी ये होगा. These were all the fears. But in my mind, only one pursuit was there, that if river is afraid of going to an ocean, it does not have any other option except to become an ocean. Then I thought that I do not have any option now to go back to my original place. I can't leave Mumbai without completing the task for which I have come, because I did not have any other alternative left in my
So
life.
that CA tag became your motivation.
Yes, हाँ.
So आजकल काफ़ी बच्चे हैं ना वो अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन पे स्क्रीन सेवर लगा देते हैं या घर पे पोस्टर लगाते हैं just to keep them motivated every day
Yes, sir.
to get there. What was your source of motivation उस time पे to, you know, it's a grueling course. Let's all admit that it's not easy for those 3-4 years. Classes होते हैं, articleship कर रहे हो, and the regular life of Mumbai.
Correct, sir.
So how what was your source of motivation that time?
Sir, my social
फैमिली से दूर रह रहे हो. I think बॉम्बे में लोगों को ज़्यादा जानते नहीं होगे आप. So
So, sir, पहले the first 2-3 months were very difficult for me. In the evening, I used to remember my place, because in my life I did not move out of the Jamnagar city. मैंने कहीं राजकोट city भी नहीं देखा था पहले. So it was very, very painful for me initially. But then I said that you said that the people keep on their mobile screen that this is the message. I had an imprint on my mind कि जिस संकल्प में विकल्प नहीं है वो काम करना है. जहाँ विकल्प नहीं होता है इंसान के पास, तो फिर वो काम होता ही होता है. बिकॉज आपने वो शाहरुख खान का डायलॉग समझा था, पूरी कायनात आपके पीछे लग जाती है. वो बात अलग है. बट व्हेन यू डिसाइड टू डू समथिंग, परहैप्स एवरीथिंग मूव्स इन द सेम डायरेक्शन
to help
That's
you
what it
get
is.
there. And
हाँ.
also I've been you always heard that if you have a plan B, your plan A will not work. Backups कभी कभी अच्छे होते हैं, but in life plan A is always a primary factor for us to keep going forward. अगर fall back option है तो अच्छा हाँ ठीक है, नहीं हुआ तो हम कुछ और कर लेंगे. That's I think one key takeaway from what you say over it. But you spoke about the fact that, you know, small town accounting knowledge was because marks नहीं आए थे. Language was the barrier. I know for the matter even J.K. Shah sir ने अपनी जो is the common teacher that we both have did his primary learning in Gujarati. In the first few years, did you think language became a barrier when you were interacting with people? I know, like you mentioned, कि interview में तो problem आ गया था. But once you joined, did that become? Was English such an important thing even 40 years back?
Yes, sir. To move in the corporate circle, English is very important. One must know. But one factor that goes against the people who are coming from small town is their communication in English language. Perhaps the vernacular people, vernacular taught students can write better English, can write correct English. But when it is to be communicated in English, they have the fear at the back of their mind that they are not taught in the language in which they are speaking. One thing is that. But in my case, sir, if you look at the work profile that I was doing, it was a Gujarati firm of chartered accountant. So I had an added advantage of my language.
Correct.
The books of accounts were in Gujarati.
Acha.
I used to translate the annual accounts, the balance sheet, etc. in English. Nobody else knew that. So that became my niche factor, my winning combination in the firm in which I was working.
So you use that challenge as a strength, as an outlier कि कोई और नहीं कर पा रहा मैं कर पाऊंगा. And that became your initial road to success in terms of that. But जैसा आप बता रहे थे ना कि हम ट्रांसलेट करते हैं बहुत बार. सो आई नो जब मेरे को कोई हिंदी गुजराती में बात करे स्पीच देनी होती है तो टिपिकली हम इंग्लिश में सोचते हैं और वर्ड टू वर्ड हिंदी और गुजराती में ट्रांसलेट की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड देन समटाइम्स इट कम्स आउट इन अ फनी मैनर. Have you ever had any incident where something came out wrong and people laughed at you, or you went back and, you know, thought कि यार मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे? ना मेरी language is a problem. CA is a tough course, of course. And during the duration of those 2-3 years of articleship and giving multiple exams, कभी ऐसा लगा कि CA course मेरे लिए नहीं बनाया?
नहीं, मुझे कभी ऐसा नहीं लगा. Lekin when you speak about the funny incidents, I have a very funny incidents in mind about my lack of English uh, language as a communication. I was asked to seek an adjournment before the commissioner appeals. So my senior said that you seek an adjournment, make this adjournment request, and go to that gentleman and request him that we will give you the written submission. And I thought that he was referring about the written submission means written arguments at that time. But I was under the impression that how written submission would be available. What are
Oh,
we communicating to him? Then I thought that, then I asked him, then what is written submission? He said that, लिख के दे देंगे सब जो कहना है वो. That is how. So it is very funny.
English is
For
the funny language,
English is,
but
yeah,
that,
yeah.
we don't blame you for that. So.
No, 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 but in fact, my ability to react to that gentleman
Was
was different.
was different.
Yeah.
Was different. So did you make a conscious extra effort to learn the language, or
Not
was
at
it more working knowledge जो आप कर रहे थे उसी में आप सीख रहे थे?
no conscious efforts for that, sir. But in fact, the my study itself of the chartered accountancy, attending various classes, attending to the my colleagues, what do they speak? How do they behave? What is their communication when they do something? I was a very keen observer of that, and from that I started picking up very fast.
So आज भी काफी बच्चे जो आते हैं राजस्थान गुजरात या इन द सेंट्रल स्टेट्स ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश उत्तर प्रदेश जहाँ पे नेटिव लैंग्वेज हिंदी गुजराती या मारवाड़ी बिकम्स नेटिव लैंग्वेज एंड इंग्लिश इज अ बैरियर इट्स सेकंड और थर्ड लैंग्वेज घर पे बात ही नहीं करते
जी.
तो जब वो आते हैं ऐसे शहरों में नाउ टुडे आई एम श्योर देयर आर लॉट ऑफ more polished English speaking individuals versus these people. And at times they're looked down upon. If you had to give some message for these students जो अपना शहर छोड़ के आते हैं to make a life for themselves in Bombay, what is their message that you want to give to them?
Only one message: don't be afraid of your incapabilities. They will improve automatically if you wish to do that. So the basic not able to speak English fluently, not able to communicate to the colleagues doesn't make much of the difference. Ultimately, what is counted is your efforts and what you bring on the table on the issue. That is very important.
So one question, उस टाइम में आपकी stipend कितनी थी?
Stipend, sir, I will not name the firm where I have served my
That's
articles.
okay.
My stipend was 60 rupees. 20 rupees was tea allowance given to me. And if I drink more tea than the 20 rupees, then it would have been deducted from the my stipend. But one thing very funny, sir. My principal was very shrewd Gujarati person. He said that शाम को 6 बजे he will speak that who wants to eat idli. There is a one small cow gully behind that income tax office, and he said, who wants to eat idli? So that was the message that you will have to sit late. As I was staying in hostel, I tempted to eat idli more. So I wanted to stay back in the office, work more, learn more.
Any interesting episode during your articleship? कोई interesting कोई client से मुलाकात या कुछ learning journey which you still remember?
So many such incidents are there, sir. Many such incidents are there. So I met one dacoit. I was the internal auditor. My firm was the internal auditor, and I was deputed for the internal audit in one company in Uttar Pradesh, Baheri. Baheri is the place, not the Bareilly, etc., etc. So I was auditing the stores department. So there was a 1 6 feet tall gentleman. मैं सर चाचा आप यहाँ क्या कर रहे हैं? Then he said मैं यहाँ पे stores में I am a helper. मैंने कहा आपका तो इतना फर्स्ट क्लास है ये बॉडी. He said कि बेटा मैं डाकू था. मैंने कहा अच्छा आप डाकू थे. सो एक्चुअली जो पेडेस्टल फ्रेंड होता है स्टोर्स में, आप किसी कंपनी के स्टोर्स में गए हो उस टाइम में, जब 40 साल पहले का, जस्ट यू विजुअलाइज दैट पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन, दैट उस पेडेस्टल फैन के आगे अगर वो आदमी खड़ा रह जाए तो हवा आपके ऊपर नहीं आएगी. इतना चौड़ा और इतना लंबा आदमी. उसने बताया कि सर जब मैं डाकू था मुझसे पूरा गांव दहलता था और आज मैं एक स्टोर कीपर हूँ, तो मुझको ये बाबू भी डरा रहा है। लेकिन आज मैं इज्जत और ईमानदारी की जिंदगी जी रहा हूँ। तब मुझे ये एहसास हुआ कि एक डाकू बदल के कितना नोबल इंसान बन सकता है. So that was a one incident. It's a Baheri factory, precisely.
But that also brings me to the normal method that the respect is commanded and not demanded. आप जो पोजीशन पे आ जाते हो आपके काम से आपकी रिस्पेक्ट होती है, ना कि आपके योर बॉडी और योर लुक और योर पोजीशन. सो
इन सब चीज़ों की ज़्यादा कीमत नहीं है सर इस दुनिया में. ये सब दिखावे की बातें हैं.
ओके
अल्टीमेटली तो what benefit you give to somebody else,
इज
that creates a value for you.
ट्रू. सो यू केम टू बॉम्बे, आप आर्टिकलशिप वगैरह ज्वाइन कर ली. हाउ वाज योर नॉर्मल स्केड्यूल एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम इन अ डे?
Oh, sir, it was very tough, grueling. In fact, I was starting from 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning from Matunga railway station, reaching Grant Road for the classes from 7 to perhaps 9:30.
Okay.
From 9:30, I used to run to my office at Marine Lines. From that, in the evening, 6:30 or 7, I used to leave. Once again, classes. Then 9:30, I used to pick up train from Grant Road railway station. And before I reached the hostel, the hostel meals would not have been available at that time. So my evening meal was a vada pav at Grant Road railway station.
So I think that's how Bada Pav is now the Bombay staple diet. But I mean that was constantly for 3 years.
Yes.
Was it grueling at times कि मैं ये क्यों कर रहा हूँ?
No, it was joyful.
It was joyful.
Yeah.
Okay. So classes, since we talk about classes and stuff like that, you were a student of JK Shah classes as well, and JK Shah sir, ke, one of the initial students, you were there. How did you get in touch with him, and what are the initial impressions you had about sir?
Sir, my initial impression was that I was little bit worried about the costing subject. That was the subject I feared that many people are failing into that. So I thought that I had a very short time. So I joined perhaps the crash course in 1987. I qualified in 1987, November. Before that, crash course was there. And perhaps the JK Shah sir was a new name at that time.
Okay.
But people were praising him like that, and that his understanding of the subject and manner of teaching, costing is fascinating. So I thought that let me join it. So it was somewhere near Kennedy Bridge, small building, and perhaps on the third floor, JK Shah Saab's class was there. Fees, I remember it was 1,500 or something for crash course of 2 months. So it was the first lecture, very small class. So I think 20-25 people must be there. And the first lecture, and the gentleman came with the specs and very loud personality and like that. Oh, JK Shah साहब हैं, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, सुनते हैं. His first lecture made me understand what caustic is. I can recite his first few sentences even today also.
So how did you get to know your results, and what was your first reaction?
I was on an audit in Uttar Pradesh. At that time, there were no telephones, etc. There was telex messages.
CA बन के आया, जामनगर में आया. Was that also a quality factor?
Of course, sir. And it makes a difference because you have the in city like राजस्थान से लोग आते हैं, जयपुर से लोग आते हैं. So that advantage, initial niche advantage that you carry to your small station.